I found revelations about the Void Century here that has not been discussed anywhere within the One Piece community. The Void Century is a period of time that starting 800 years ago. There's a 100-year blank part of history that solely exists in a few places. Within that Void Century, it was revealed that the Ancient Kingdom is an ultra-advanced, immense kingdom, and the world government wants to keep the name of that kingdom a secret at all costs. During the Ohara incident flashback during the Water 7 saga, Cloud D. Clover, the head archaeologist of the Ohara scholars, reveals that this kingdom was incredibly advanced. About 700 chapters later, we get more information about this from Dr. Vegapunk. We see all of Vegapunk's vast knowledge on display at Egghead Island, but what he's really chasing is the power source that made the Ancient Kingdom what it was. While his hallmark invention is the Mother Flame, it really is not the same as the ancient energy that we know from that kingdom. We know this because the Mother Flame was never able to power Emmet, the Iron Giant that is found dormant on Egghead Island, who attacked Mary Joie 200 years ago. And Vegapunk has some really interesting things to say about energy. He says the world is positively brimming with it. If we can simply convert it into a kind of power that you can see and use, we would be eliminating one of the greatest causes of war in the world. Jinbei says that nations have fought wars for energy for all of human history. But what makes this power source unique is that it's limitless, it's endless. Its special quality is that everybody will have access to this power. The power source from the Ancient Kingdom was able to convert this invisible energy swirling around us into a power that you can see and use. The Ancient Kingdom was defeated by a provisional army of 20 kingdoms known as the Alliance. This is the precursor to the world government. One of the most interesting parts is, while Joy Boy was long thought to be the king of the Ancient Kingdom, in fact, Joy Boy was just a person born in the Ancient Kingdom, and he was the first person to be called a pirate. So let's put these few pieces together before we start going crazy with the ideas. The Ancient Kingdom was an ultra-advanced civilization that existed at least 900 years ago. It took 20 kingdoms of the world forming an army together to ultimately defeat the Ancient Kingdom. What we see from the remnants of the Alliance is not an ultra-futuristic world. They were not on par with the Ancient Kingdom technologically at all. It's taken 800 years with the smartest man in the world, with the perfect devil fruit, to even come close to recreating that level of technology. We can assume that everything that Vegapunk has been able to do scientifically is something that the Ancient Kingdom was able to do as well, if not even something more advanced. That means the Ancient Kingdom was capable of cloning, genetic modification to give superpowers, aka the green blood through the bloodline elements, climate control, the creation of clouds that could be used as land, sea prism, light-based energy weapons, unlimited food. What this means is that the Ancient Kingdom was so advanced that the rest of the world would see them as gods, something different than humans. So here's the big revelation of the Ancient Kingdom that's going to lead to a lot of new ideas. To have such a technological superiority, the Ancient Kingdom had to be an isolationist country, a country of closed borders paralleling the country of Wano, which, just as a reminder, the rulers of Wano, the Kazuki clan, appeared to be closely aligned with the Ancient Kingdom, which is shown on their crest, as well as being the creators of the poneglyphs and the keepers and protectors of the ancient weapon Pluton and one of the road poneglyphs. This means that Joy Boy, the first person known as a pirate, became known as a pirate because they illegally left their home country, the currently unnamed Ancient Kingdom. Joy Boy wanted to see the world, paralleling Luffy and Roger's adventures. When he left his home country of the Ancient Kingdom and saw the rest of the world and the suffering of hunger, of being in a cage, of losing people close to you, how would Joy Boy react? He would know that his home country of the Ancient Kingdom can convert the energy around them into an endless, unlimited power source. But out in the rest of the world, they live starkly different lives. One of the major recurring themes of One Piece is someone stealing something, taking something from somebody else for their own benefit, for their own power. You see this in Arlen Park, the Alabastar, you see this in Wano, you see this in Dressrosa, and you even see this in the biggest moments of One Piece, like where Port Guest D. Ace had his life stolen from him simply for being born. So what if when he sets out to see the world, he realizes my home country the ancient kingdom achieved their technological superiority, achieved everything by taking from others. That the ancient kingdom's power comes from the suffering of the rest of the world. The complexity of the relationships with Joy Boy, the ancient kingdom, the 20 allied countries comes from the idea that one of the 20 rulers, Nefertari Lily, had the unique experience of being an ally with Joy Boy, somebody from the ancient kingdom and the first pirate, and was also one of the founders and leaders of the new central power, the world government, back then the Alliance. This means that Joy Boy had a close relationship with Lily, and thus had a relationship to the Alliance. Clover says during the O'Hara incident that the ancient kingdom is immense. We kind of understand the scale of One Piece. Immense is a big deal. And remember, they're so technologically advanced that they would not even appear to be human. They'd appear to be gods. So even with an alliance of 20 kings, how would they even manage to defeat the 20 kingdoms? Especially if they had Joy Boy on their side, which they definitely might not have, given the inherent relationship between Joy Boy and Nefertari D. Lily. Let's put it this way. Monkey D. Luffy comes from the Goa Kingdom, a member of the world government. At 17 years old, Luffy sets out to become a pirate, effectively renouncing his citizenship within the world government. Not that he ever believed he was a citizen to begin with. If there was a major official faction rising up against the world government of today, would Luffy fight for the world government against an alliance of other kingdoms? And one of the major leaders of that alliance being Nefertari D. Vivi? Fuck no. He's siding with Vivi. So ultimately, I can't ignore that there is a strong possibility that Joy Boy fought on the side of the Alliance in the war against the Ancient Kingdom. Not only would he do this because of his friendship with Nefertari D. Lily, but Joy Boy would also do this to return his friend's treasures to their kingdom, to get their kingdom back. See, if the ancient kingdom stole their technology to achieve their power, that is not freedom for anybody. And if Joy Boy represents Luffy's ideal, he would seek freedom for everybody. And that would mean returning their kingdom, returning their fate, returning their autonomy to his friends. But when the Alliance achieves victory, Joy Boy and his pirate faction would still be a remnant of the ideals of the ancient kingdom. And if you wanted all that power for yourself, or if you wanted to ensure that that power could never become reality again, you would have to erase all knowledge of that and betray Joy Boy themselves. And this betrayal of Joy Boy would be something that Lily would not be on board with, and would explain why Lily did not pledge the Sword of Alabasta to the world government, and it would explain why Lily distributed the poneglyphs of the ancient kingdom to ensure that those ideals of Joy Boy and the ancient kingdom live on. This idea that the ancient kingdom is not blameless in the conflict fits very nicely in what we've learned from Vegapunk, Professor Clover, and the breadcrumbs of Joy Boy and Nefertari D. Lily lore that we've gotten so far. This is also why Vegapunk says the end of the Void Century is marked by the defeat of Joy Boy, because Joy Boy would have been the final loose end from the Void Century, representing the ideals of the Ancient Kingdom. So here's the story as I see it. The Void Century marks the beginning of a conflict with the Ancient Kingdom and the 20 Kingdoms. This is a long conflict that leads to war, and at some point during this war, Joy Boy leaves his home country of the Ancient Kingdom and sees the world for himself. People within the Ancient Kingdom would have heard many things about the rest of the world, but if it was an isolationist country, they'd have to see it for themselves to truly know. So he goes on an adventure, makes friends, finds a Nakama, and becomes the first pirate and pirate crew, and would see that their ideals of creating a republic of 20 kingdoms with no one single ruler over everybody else would theoretically create a better world. If the Ancient Kingdom stole treasures from places in the world, then Joy Boy would want to side with the Alliance to return those treasures to his friends. Ultimately, the Alliance and Joy Boy succeed. And now somebody, Emu, betrays Lily because he wants power. He wants what the Ancient Kingdom gods had. These twisted ideals set Lily up to send the poneglyphs off and asks Joy Boy to fulfill a promise. And ultimately, Joy Boy fails to complete that promise. But what is fate? All of this feels a little bit predetermined, right? Well, what is Luffy's dream? It's a promise that he made, a promise to Shanks, a promise to his brothers, a promise to his crew, a promise to the world. A promise is kind of like a dream, and dreams dreams and promises and memories have a lot of power in One Piece. And that promise is what has ultimately powered the checkered fate. The checkered fate being the inevitable path of a promise coming true, of a dream coming true, even through death and life, generation after generation, light and darkness, just like a checkerboard. And we know that the ancient kingdom had to be an isolationist. Imu is pretending that the celestial gods and that themselves are creators. They're isolationists in the sense that going out to sea the world makes you a pirate. It's illegal. You can basically only go out to sea legally if you're under the purview of the Navy or Cipher Pool or something like that, something that you can be monitored and controlled. And the ancient kingdom's isolationist nature comes from their ultra advanced conversion of a power source that's everywhere and unlimited and never-ending energy. And if they had that technological level of superiority over the rest of the world, which we do know, then how would they view the rest of the world? Would they view them like insects? Something that's paralleled by the 5 elders and celestial dragons? The victory of the 20 kingdoms and the pendulum swing to the celestial dragons copying the ancient kingdom is essentially an inversion, an arc in the cycle of power and fate, a checkered fate. Outside the ancient kingdom, could Joy Boy have made other allies that sided with the alliance in the kingdom but wanted to maintain their own independence? Could these places be Wano, Elbath, and Fishman Island? Could those 3 places have sided with Joy Boy because those are the very places that had their technology stolen from them? Pluton, Uranus, and Poseidon? If Joy Boy sided with the alliance and helped them ultimately defeat the ancient kingdom, Joy Boy would then return those technologies to their homes. But then what if Imu betrayed everyone else? He betrays Joy Boy and Lily. Then those factions that are the alliance of Joy Boy would let Joy Boy use the ancient energy to power their quote-unquote weapons to fight back against the darkness that was about to consume them. Friend of the show, Y-Huss, from the Straw Hat Sit Down podcast, linked in the description, told me that he sees the D as being the original mark of Joy Boy's crew, the symbol on Joy Boy's Jolly Roger. This would mean Fishman Island, Wano, Alabasta, and Elbath were all once nations separate from the world government, separate from the alliance, that were allied specifically with Joy Boy. And remember, Luffy left the Straw Hat flag back with these countries after he helped them in this current era. Thank you for that, Y-Huss. So what is Imu? How did Imu pull all of this off? Because what Imu pulled off is wild. Well, let's look back at how the Nika fruit came into existence and then consider if there's an inversion of that could have came into existence. The Nika fruit and all devil fruits are said to exist because one person one day hoped it would exist, wished Nika to be real, and maybe that's why the world government punished the Buccaneers, because they wished Nika to be true, and it bore the Nika devil fruit into existence. But Nika is a positive idea, right? I wish I was free. I wish I was the most free. I wish Nika would come save me and make me free. But under the structure that I've just told you about, where the ancient kingdom could have been a real force of suffering in the world, what if somebody wished for something darker? What if somebody wished for something that would take vengeance? And a different mythological Zoan was born with a more sinister set of abilities, like something that can control yokai. That would perfectly represent an inversion of Nika. And then how would that fruit affect somebody? We know from the 5 elders that Zoan fruits have a will of their own. So such a devil fruit could carry a very powerful will inside that would affect somebody in a twisted way. Could this be what affected Imu to betray Joy Boy and Lily? We know that Imu is at least closely tied to somebody from the Void Century, to one of the 20 founding kings, Imu Nerona. But the way that Ivankov just easily guesses and spells out Imu's potential identity, it seems a little bit too easy, right? Like Oda's gonna have something up his sleeve. So the other piece about Imu that we know is that Imu is immortal. And fortunately, we already know the devil fruit that grants immortality, the Op-Op fruit, a devil fruit that at the cost of the user's life grants immortality. Now remember, Zoan devil fruits have a will of their own, and we learned from Egghead Island with the experiments Vegapunk does with Kuma that wills are memories. And memories have weight. The soul, it's a real tangible thing. Now, what does the op fruit do? It swaps tangible things within a space. So is there a possibility that the op fruit grants immortality by switching the soul within the devil fruit into the body of the user? There's something here. But the other thing that we know about the will of devil fruits, and Zoan devil fruits in particular, is a concept known as awakening. Zoan devil fruits are especially known for awakening and the fruit user losing their mind to the devil fruit. What would happen if a devil fruit that represents an inversion of Nika, an inversion of total freedom, awakened? That would potentially be very dangerous. So the main truth I want you to take away from here is the ancient kingdom was almost certainly an isolated nation. And given their level of technology, they would appear to have God-like abilities to the rest of the world. And having that level of power over the rest of the world would lead to a lot of suffering for not only the 20 allied countries, but for anybody who's part of Joy Boy's faction after he leaves the ancient kingdom. So why did Joy Boy leave the ancient weapons? Even though Joy Boy lost, he knows what he needs to do to win. He needs to destroy the world, because that's what Emu wants, right? That's what Blackbeard wants, the world. But like we've seen in Arlong Park, like we've seen in Fishman Island, like we've seen in Dressrosa, if what they want is the world, if what they want is the kingdom, all he's got to do is destroy the kingdom, and then they win nothing. And his friends and everybody in the world has their lives. And not only that, the inherent anti-freedom of being isolated on islands is counter to the ideals of Joy Boy, counter to the ideas of Nika, who seeks to free everybody, who's also known to be a god of destruction and a god of laughs. Because isn't it hilarious in its absurdity that Joy Boy's dream is to destroy the world, giving everybody their freedom to live under the sun on equal ground. Thanks for watching.
Moving up and down the game. There's no discharge in the war. 7, 6, 11,